Hoi, and welcome to the Dutch and Scot Sportscast. After a little break, we are back and will focus on the Netherlands and Scotland again. With today, the biggest game for Scotland in a generation.
Thanks for tuning in to episode 7. Today we'll be covering the leagues, the players, the European competitions right before the international break.
And we hope you enjoy our return again.
So we're going to begin with the league segment, and both teams that, well, I have more of an affiliation to, but Matthijs' main team have been dreadful lately. That'd be PSV and Matthijs' side, and Celtic on mine. I'm not a Celtic fan, but my allegiances lie more towards them than Rangers. And there's quite a lot to actually kind of dissect with that, isn't there, Matthijs?
Yeah, definitely. As you said, PSV, Celtic, not in the best of form. PSV predominantly in Europe, which is not going great. The league, depending on the game, a bit better. But for sure, Celtic have not had the best of starts.
And to make things a bit worse, on the flip side, Ajax and Rangers are smashing it.
Yeah, they're doing amazing, as we've missed, because it happened a few weeks ago. VVV Venlo played at home to Ajax, and you've seen the result as well. Everyone has seen the result, but it was 13-0 to Ajax.
Yeah.
Which
So not great. Not great.
No, it kind of puts our league into perspective again, and we've been called a Mickey Mouse league before. It's hard to deny those claims if stuff like this happens frequently.
I mean, you have to remember that Aston Villa beat Liverpool at 9-2, was it?
Yeah, that as well, and
So
it's
it happens
shocking result.
everywhere. It happens everywhere. But at the weekend, our closest result to that was Rangers beating Hamilton Academicals 8-0, which is a bit of a pumping. But not quite 13-0, but it's still a bit of a pumping. Currently, the table sits with Rangers on top, Celtic second, Aberdeen third. Rangers' results as of late have been fantastic, to say the least. They've played great football. You won't have seen much of them, of course, Matthijs, but they've been playing fantastic. You know, in 8-0 Hamilton, of course, absolutely hammering. Hamilton have been shocking. Within the last week, they've lost twice to League 2 sides in Scotland, and obviously got pumped 8-0 off Rangers, so they've not been great. They drew 3-3 away to Benfica, which is fantastic. Beat Kilmarnock 1-0 away, which is always hard to do because Kilmarnock are good at home. Beat Leg Poznan, beat Livingston 2-0, beat Standard Liège 2-0, beat Celtic 2-0, beat Ross County 2-0. They're fantastic at the minute. They're much better work. Celtic are a bit of a shambles all over the place, to be honest. They signed Duffy from Brighton, if you remember that one, Matthijs.
Yeah, which was seen as a good signing at the time.
Yeah, but he has done the typical, I'm coming from the English league, so I'm going to absolutely stroll it, Joey Barton routine, and gubbed it. He's been absolutely awful. It wasn't the right man. You know, Celtic, they tend to play with centre-backs who can use their feet a bit more.
Ball-playing centre-backs.
Be the case. Yeah, that tends to be the case with any team who dominate a league. They tend to have, good passing football in a way. And they've just got a centre-back who was phased out of Brighton because he couldn't play with his feet. So, but at least he's a Celtic man, so that's about all that matters, isn't it?
Well, he's an Irish club man, right? I mean,
yeah, he's Irish. His dad's a Celtic fan or something like that, and there was a big emotional story alongside that. I don't know.
the same thing with the goalkeeper.
Barkas, yeah, they've spent 4 million on him. Another typical Celtic signing in this one of my eyes is that rather than get someone who has experience in the league, I was saying they should get Vladke, who was St Mirren's keeper up until recently. Obviously, I don't like St Mirren, but he was a good goalie, and he probably would have done better than Barkas, who hasn't hit the ground running. It's probably not been helped by the fact that he's been written off from early. It's probably affected his confidence a bit. They've also had some injury issues. Christopher Julian's been out for a little while, meaning that Stephen Welsh, who I seen get absolutely destroyed at right back with Grant Morton last year, has came in to play at Celtic centre half. Hasn't been great. Ayer doesn't really want to be at the club anymore. You can tell he was linked to a move to AC Milan over the summer, but didn't get it, so he's not been great. Overall, they've not played well. Even Edwards, who's a top quality striker, hasn't been playing well.
And the pressure on Neil Lennon has been getting bigger and
Neil
bigger.
Lennon's not good enough. He hasn't been good enough since the moment he came in. When Rodgers left, it was the right move at that time to bring in Lennon till the end of the season because he was out of a job. He knew the club well. It was just an easy transition for the 5 months or something they needed them for. After that summer should have been spent bringing in a manager who was capable of taking Celtic a step further, not taking them a step behind, which is what they've done. They've got a manager who, apart from on the odd occasion, is utterly dreadful. He's had some good results, beating Barcelona 1-0, beating Lazio away from home 2-1. He's had some great results, but equally he's had some absolute stinkers. He was a man in charge when Morton beat them 1-0 and went on to get relegated that season. Morton, not Celtic. This season he's been in charge and they've been shocking. He isn't good enough, and I don't necessarily blame him for the situation they're in because he isn't good enough. Everyone knew that. It's the board's lack of ambition. With on the flip side, with Rangers, it's just been constant progression and constant backing of their managers.
Yeah.
When you look at the transfer policy between the two, when Rangers had Pedro Caixinha as manager, who was a terrible manager, it wasn't good enough. They took a punt on him, they backed him, and it's turned out good because they got Alfredo Morelos out of it. They gave him the funds to sign Morelos. Pena was like a £2 million deal. They signed Bruno Alves. They backed him fully. It was the same with Mark Warburton. It was the same, and now it's the same with Gerrard, and it's worked. Celtic, on the other hand, haven't been backing managers. They've been making signings that just don't seem to make any sense. They spent $4 million on Kouassi Eboué. Do you know who Kouassi Eboué is, Matthijs?
We've talked about him, and we've talked about how many appearances he's made. Yeah. Not many.
£4 million the same season. They wouldn't spend £2 million on John McGinn.
Which is also a name I recognise for different reasons.
He's huge. Yeah. He would have been the best player in the league by a country mile if they just signed him, but they didn't. They've done it so many times, and it's ridiculous. They've not backed their men. They've not made the right signings. They've thrown money in stupid places. They've not signed the players. They've underestimated Scottish players a lot of the time, and it's coming back to bite them. When you look at the sort of trajectory of the two clubs, Rangers technically have always been going up because of they came from League Two, but the last since the Invincible season 2016-17. Celtic have just slowly went down, whereas Rangers just slowly went up, and now they're getting overtaken by them. And the writing was on the wall for ages.
Yeah, you see it with the fact that they're struggling to make the Champions League as well.
Well, yeah, exactly. They should realistically in 10 years, without Rangers being in, that's guaranteed prize money for every league, every cup competition in the nation. They should be, with the players they've had, the players they've been selling. There was a time period they had Moussa Dembele, who's went on to run rampant with Leon. Virgil van Dijk and stuff have played for them in that period of time, and they should be at this point quarter finalists, roughly Champions League. I think with the money they've had, the size of club they are, but they're not. They're barely even Europa League quarter finalists. Rangers, on the other hand, they should be, I would say, right now, Champions League group stages are quality enough for that. Celtic don't deserve to be there at the minute.
Well, I mean, it looks like Rangers will get an opportunity to try.
Well, yeah,
if it continues like this.
Yeah, there's 2 Champions League qualifier places, and obviously I think Rangers are going to go on and win the league this year.
Yeah, the 10 in a row.
Yeah. The rest of the league, I realise I've kind of went off on a tangent. The rest of the league's kind of similar, as you would expect. Aberdeen third, bottom of the league's Hamilton. The Championship, League 1 and League 2 have all kicked off. The highlights from that: my own club, Greenock Morton, have been all over the shop. We won our first game 1-0, lost our second game 2-0. Had the best comeback since Istanbul. In the third game against Derry United, 2-0 down, 82nd minute. 90th minute, we won 3-2. Who knows how? I don't know either. And then we got pumped 5-0 off Wraith Rovers. So
It's good to be back.
swings and roundabouts. On the flip side, Wraith Rovers have been smashing it. They've not lost a game. They've been playing fantastic football. Good young side. They're exciting, good to watch. Hearts are probably going to win the league. They're insanely good. Alloa, Arbroath, and Queen of the South are having stinkers and will be in the relegation battle this year. League 1, Partick Thistle haven't had a great start, which is a big thing. They've won 1 game in 4.
We've talked about them before as well.
Yeah.
And your feelings
and
towards them.
Thistle are a funny one. I've got some friends who are Thistle fans I've known my whole life, so I used to have a soft spot for them. But they do have an almost arrogance about them, and I was hoping that this League 1 fiasco would kind of kick it out of them and make them think, right, screw the head, we'll get ourselves back up to the Premiership. But it's not. They're acting as arrogant, their manager's acting arrogant, their board's acting arrogant, their players are acting arrogant, their fans are acting arrogant, and they're getting pumped. And that's just what's going to happen. You need to kind of, when Morton went down that year, we just kind of screwed the head, built ourselves back up, brought ourselves up. Wraith Rovers have done the same. Falkirk are finally starting to do it. First season they didn't. They just bought lots of players and thought, right, we don't deserve to be here, so we'll come back up. They didn't, and now they've screwed the head a bit, and they're actually built a team to go up.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Thistle might spend another year in League 1. It wouldn't surprise me. It would probably be good for them, for Scottish football, for them to do, rebuild themselves, but I think that this year isn't going to be the year.
And what's the situation at Cove Rangers?
Yeah, smashing it. I mean, money helps with that one, but Mitch Mitchinson, our striker's been fantastic for them. They play some fast attacking football, which is kind of, I think, the thing that surprised every team they've came up against. When they came up from the lower leagues to League 2, they didn't do what you would expect and just trying to stay in League 2. They just attacked everyone.
Mm-hmm.
They just went out there to win every game, and they did pretty much that. They didn't win every game, but they won the vast majority of them, came up. League 1, they're doing the exact same thing, and it's paying off.
Yeah.
So I think give it 3-4 years, it'll be a championship club. League 2, Queen's Park are top of that one. Again, lots of money there. I want them to come up. I like Queen's Park, spoken about in the past. But Queen's Park doing well. Edinburgh City doing well. Brecon not doing great. Same with Albion Rovers. That's my summary of the Scottish leagues.
Well, now we'll head over.
Eredivisie.
Exactly. Which, starting off, as you said, PSV's form hasn't been the best, but also, it's a difficult way to phrase it, because it's not like every game has been lost, mainly in Europe, but we'll get to Europe in a little bit in our following section. Currently, Ajax first in the league, 21 points. Lost a game earlier this year away in Groningen. We've discussed that game before. But on the same amount of points, 21 points, Vitesse.
Mm-hmm.
Also only lost one game, 1-7. They've played each other, where Ajax beat Vitesse in a very tight game, which Vitesse in another way could have won if they were a bit more efficient in front of goal. And then third place is PSV with 19 points. So lost one game, drew one game. And then Feyenoord is 4th, FC Twente 5th, Heerenveen 6th. And then AZ is back in 8th. So they've had a bit of a sloppy start as well, AZ. But currently, the most exciting team by far is Ajax. They're playing some very good football, and like I said, a 13-0 victory over VVV is undeniably impressive. It's a record in the Dutch league. It's the highest victory ever. Coming away from home as well. Traditionally, this is a very difficult game, a difficult place to go for the big three, the big four maybe now if AZ included. But I think the influence of the fact that there's no supporters in the stadium makes a massive difference, because it's kind of like just it feels like a friendly game. It's just the whole atmosphere is different, and I do think it really, really shows on the pitch. One of the most interesting games in the last few weeks was PSV Vitesse. So the number 2 against the number 3 in the league. It finished 2-1 to Vitesse with a very late controversy where the referee pointed to the spot for a penalty. VAR overruled it. And even after that, the controversy was like... no one even knew still. You know all the business with VAR as well, and if you watch the Premier League. Yeah, so here people are getting annoyed by it more and more, and sometimes it just doesn't seem to make sense.
I'm just glad we don't have it in Scotland.
Yeah, well, I'm glad it exists, but it's just annoying sometimes.
See, I don't know, because I think that it is a bit... I was at a game last year down in Sheffield, and it was West Ham Sheffield, and I was in the West Ham end, and West Ham were terrible, but they were 1-0 down, and it was the 90th plus 2 minutes, and Declan Rice takes the ball, drives forward, plays it through to Robert Snodgrass, who finishes it off, last minute equaliser. West Ham end go absolutely mental. It's fantastic, VAR check, and when Declan Rice chests the ball, a Sheffield United player headers the ball to try and clear it. He headers it off of Declan Rice's arm, so Declan Rice's arm's in a natural, chesting position.
Mm-hmm.
And through no fault of his own, the ball is headed off his arm, and it's called off from that.
Yeah, I also think like it's meant to make the game fairer,
But
which
it's not, though.
which in a way it does, but
It's
it also
just-
doesn't. Like these instances which you now describe, it's just how can you justify this as a
It
foul?
ruins a lot of what football is to me, is atmosphere and
Mhm.
fan experience, and that is ultimately what football is. It's fan experience. The root origin of it is to entertain people.
Yeah, that's what I like. What I was going to say is, you have these instances where VR has to check, and it takes minutes and minutes, and it just takes away some of the just the excitement of the game.
Yeah.
And
Football isn't like American football. It's not an exact science. It's
you can
it's
see it
meant
with
to-
the lines for offside. It's just
Oh, it's ridiculous. Did you see the Patrick Bamford one?
yeah.
Where his whole body's behind, but his hands ahead as if he can score with his hand. I don't understand it. I think as long as your feet are behind or in line with the striker or with the defender, and that's fine. 'Cause what's your body? What difference does that make?
Yeah, it's such a grey area.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it should be if it's clear and obvious. I do agree with VAR in the sense of a clear and obvious decision that's been missed. But then the Pickford incident,
Virgil van Dijk.
yeah, where
Yeah.
like that was a clear and obvious decision.
Yeah.
Where Pickford dangerously tackled him, deserved to be sent off for it, but they didn't pick up on it, which I don't understand. If they're going to pick up on the wee nitty picky things, you should pick up on the actual big hard hitting tackles that get unnoticed.
Yeah, I agree, but it's just frustrating, and like we all get why VR is here, but like I said, sometimes it just goes a bit too far. But then quickly back to Eredivisie. The only two teams currently without a win: Fortuna Sittard and FC Emmen. They drew 3 games. FC Emmen have had some very, very unlucky defeats and even draws. Against Feyenoord recently, they were 2-2. They had a man sent off, and they were fighting for everything. Last minute, Feyenoord scored a winner, and I mean heartbreak for Emmen, but yeah, it's kind of the story of their life this season. And I mean, for now, it's very hard to say. Ajax doing well, Vitesse doing well, PSV doing okay. Not what he expected. Although Mario Götze has gone off the ground running, he's doing well. Still kind of crazy to see him in a PSV shirt.
Well, that's what's confused me, is that your team is, especially in attacking, sounds very solid.
Yeah, the problem is it's very obviously in defense.
Your left back's good, isn't it, Philip Max? And your right back, your full backs are good.
Philip Max. He's just yesterday made his debut for the German national team, and as he's been doing in the Eredivisie, he started off with an assist. So I mean, he's doing great, and he's amazing.
Between your two fullbacks, it's your centre backs and a goalkeeper there, shouldn't it?
Yeah, Mvogo, the goalkeeper, has improved, but there is instances where he seems very insecure. Last game at home against who did we play? Oh damn! But last game.
Names for you, Vivi Videnlo.
No, it wasn't. But last game he played amazing, and he had some amazing saves, and Willem II, of course, and saves that needed to be made. Well, team from my hometown, but you know,
yeah.
It's family. It's family. Eindhoven family, right? I just live here. Don't accuse me of such vile,
The advantage of being a Morton fan, no one can ever call you Glory Hunter.
Well, true, but
no glory to hunt.
There's in attack, it's very good.
Yeah, I mean Gutsa, Cody Gakpo, Daniel Malin.
Yeah, Zahavi still as well. Iatare is also there. But the problem is that the last few weeks we've had a lot of corona cases.
Of course.
So Dumfries had been out for a long time. Gakpo had been out for a long time. Zahavi had been out for a long time. And in midfield there's also Rosario that had been out. And Baumgartel, defender, it's currently still out. So it's also physically for these players it must be difficult, but yeah.
It'll be interesting in like 10, 15 years to look back on this season, because I think there's going to be so many different sort of anomalies that don't normally happen in football, like Aston Villa hammering Liverpool and stuff, that you can contribute a lot down to coronavirus, can't you?
Yeah, no, definitely. I 100% agree. I think there's these results, like I said, the 13-0 as well. It's just something like that just wouldn't happen. Like it could, but it's
also the perfect time for any club to try and cause some upsets and push for titles and stuff. Because England, I could genuinely see a team from outside the top 6 get European football this year.
Yeah. The same thing here with Vitesse. They're playing some absolutely amazing football. They have a new coach as well, who has introduced a completely new philosophy, and it's just working for them. And like I said, the football they play rivals the football Ajax play. So it will be a very exciting season. Hopefully it will be, because I don't want a runaway.
Only if PSG pack up though.
Well, hopefully we win the league, but it's it will be an interesting season. But then we also have the Keukenkampioen-divisie as well. Just quickly brush over. Most teams played 11 games at this point, and still on top, Almere City FC, doing well. Exciting club, young club. A good philosophy, they sign good players, young players, the development for the future, development of the city as well. And they're doing great. They just recently redeveloped their stadium, which also now, I mean, you have the time. Second place, the Graafschap. And then third, Cambuur. And fourth, FC Volendam. So here it's all over the shop, but Almere City, the Graafschap, Cambuur. For me, those 3 teams are the favorites to go up. And 2 of them actually will. And 1 of them might via the playoffs at the end of the season. But for now, during the international break, they'll keep on playing. So for next time, we could just brush over it really quick. But not any crazy upsets happening in the league so far.
So before we move on to the next segment, I'm interested, just because it's been a wee while since we last done a podcast like this, and people listening might be interested to know if our opinions on these have changed. But for you, Eredivisie and Keukenkampioen-divisie, who's winning both and who's going up, who's going down? Right now, if you had to make a prediction, if someone's listening to this, they've got Bet365 open on their phone, they've got a wee pound sitting in, they think, right, I'm going to stick on some money on who's going up, who's winning this, who's going down,
So,
who's going down.
Eredivisie,
No.
with a heavy heart, I have to say probably Ajax.
Okay.
Going down, I think it has to be RKC Waalwijk, who we haven't talked about today. But yeah, I could not see them stay up. This is a bonus year for them anyway. So, and ADO Den Haag is currently a shambles as well. But I think they just might just about do it. But I think Fortuna Sittard will go down as well. So RKC and Fortuna. And then going up, I really think Almere City will do it this year, which is a team, like I said, a team that's been progressing and growing a lot over the last few years. But yeah, I'm rooting for them. And I know that many people in the Netherlands aren't, because they're not a very traditional club, but they are a club that's built from nothing into something. It just shows that with the right philosophy, mentality, and people, you can actually get pretty far. And the club has been growing in the city as well, so, you know. And then I would like to see Cambuur, because they should have been promoted last year. And they didn't because of Corona. And then via the playoffs, De Graafschap has the highest chance of getting promoted, I think. And they might replace, like, in the playoffs, ADO Den Haag, FC Emmen, Sparta, one of those teams. But I'm not sure. And what about Scotland?
I would put my money on Rangers to win the league. Cause a big upset. I think that's going to happen. We'll take a big January transfer window for Celtic to turn it around. I think going down, I can't see Hamilton surviving this year. I know they're predicted to go down every year and they never do, but this year I think they will go down. I think we'll see a playoff go down, and I genuinely do think it will be St Mirren. You know, just watching them last night, Morton played St Mirren for context last night, and we lost on penalties 6-5, but we drew 1-1 with them. First half we were terrible, but we just sat back the whole game. Second half we were by far the better side, and overall we probably should have won. They don't look great. They're struggling to score. I could see them come down in the playoffs. Going up, I could see Hearts going up automatically. Squad's far too good. Money's, carrying them, granted, but, I'm not really going to complain too much about the money being spent, because, as you say, like with Waalwijk, it's kind of like they probably shouldn't have been relegated. They probably would have turned it around, but they've been relegated anyway, so they kind of deserve to go back up. Outside shout, if they continue in the form, they're on Wraith Rovers to go up. They've got a really, really good young core, a lot of really, really good players. They have a fantastic recruitment system. A player I've mentioned before to you, Matthijs, it's Kevin Nisbet. They brought him in after him being released by Partick Thistle and turned him into an absolute machine. So I could see them going up. Going down in the Championship, I think Queen of the South, I think their luck's up. I think they'll go down this year. I think replacing them will be Falkirk. I don't think there'll be a playoff qualification. I think that it'll either be Cove or Thistle that'll get to the playoff final. But I think Alloa and Arbroath are probably too strong defensively. Going down, I think there'll be 2 going down. Right now, my prediction will be 2. Forfar and probably at this point East Fife going down. And coming up to replace them, Queen's Park and Edinburgh City. And then I think the Albion Rovers will go down and Kelly Hearts will finally make their way up to the professional pyramid.
So now we're going to look at the European football from our Dutch and Scottish teams. I'm starting off in the Champions League, because we're the only ones that have a team representing the Netherlands in the Champions League. It's Ajax, and you're in Group D with Liverpool, FC Midtjylland, Atalanta, and themselves. So that's Group D. Currently the standings in Group D, it's Liverpool first. They've won all their games pretty routinely, I'd say. Ajax second, 4 points. Atalanta third, 4 points, but a -1 goal difference. And Midtjylland last with 0 points out of 3 games. So the last game that Ajax played was away at Midtjylland. They managed to win with an interesting squad, because a few days before the news came in that a few players were out with corona. And then in the following tests that they've made, they were fine again and they were tested negative. So they could still come. These included the likes of Tadic and Onana, which are, well, 2 important players for them, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of what we expected to happen. Liverpool dominating this group. They beat Atalanta 5-0 away from home, I think, which was an insane result. And, I mean, Ajax played 2-2 in Bergamo, where they were up 2-0 at halftime, and then Atalanta scored twice to draw. I mean, it's an interesting group. It's really between Atalanta and Ajax who's going to go for that second place and on to the next round of the Champions League. A good thing to note is that last round of European football, the Netherlands actually leapfrogged over Belgium in the international standings, which currently puts us in 8th in Europe, just below Russia and Portugal, I believe. So that's a good thing to see. Next game, Ajax, 25th of November. They're playing at home to Midtjylland, so an important time to pick up 3 points. Atalanta away at Liverpool, so they can actually take some distance. And then next game, they're away at Liverpool in the 1st of December. So the games will again be coming thick and fast after one another. And then at home to Atalanta, the last game, which is, I think it's a good one to be the last game. A very exciting game. And let's hope for Ajax that they can represent the Netherlands well and take the points. Well, that was the Champions League. Let's head over to the Europa League, where we've got 3 teams representing the Netherlands. So it's a big group, a big bunch. It's AZ, it's PSV, and it's Feyenoord. And currently, it's also a bit all over the place. The first group, Group E, is where PSV find themselves in with FC Granada, PAOK Thessaloniki, and Omonia Nicosia. And PSV haven't gone off to the best of starts, unfortunately. The first game they played at home to Granada, and after Mario Götze put PSV 1-0 up, Granada managed to score twice. It's a very experienced and old team. For example, it includes the likes of Roberto Soldado. And yeah, it's just a very Spanish team, I'd say.
Yeah.
Very defensive, very harsh, very also
Fancy.
Yeah, and waste a lot of time. And whenever something happens, they, like I said, maybe it's a foul, maybe it's not a foul, but they stay on the ground pretending like they've just been killed for a few minutes.
Yeah, of course. Naturally.
Yeah, well, the second game away at Omonia Nicosia. A Donjel Male last-minute goal secured 3 points, the first 3 points in his group, and then the next away game followed next week in Thessaloniki, where PSV went 1-0 up through Eran Zahavi penalty. It seemed all fine and dandy. PSV had total control of the game, and the second half everything crumbled. And I think it took a minute for PAOK to score from a corner. And I don't know what happened from there. It's just carnage. And PSV lost 4-1. It was a game that you look back on and just think, ouch, let's forget about that one.
Yeah.
So they have a chance for redemption the 26th of November, when PSV host PAOK in the Philips Stadion. It's a must-win if you want to progress through the next round. And then they go away on the 3rd of December to Granada, which again, you cannot lose that one. For at least get a draw, you cannot lose this game if you want to go to the next round. And then the last game at home to Omonia Nicosia, which in fairness should be 3 points 9 times out of 10, maybe even 10 times out of 10. The next group is a very exciting one. Group F, we find AZ Alkmaar, who are currently top of this group. If I told you before that they would be top of this group midway with Napoli, Real Sociedad, and Rijeka, I don't think you would have expected that. But in fairness, AZ, Napoli, and Real Sociedad all have 6 points, and Rijeka 0. Yeah. But they're top. They have the best goal difference. They beat Napoli away from home with half of their squad out due to Corona. They had 3 substitutes, and somehow they won. They beat Napoli away from home, which was impressive because Napoli pretty much dominated the game. AZ needed one chance to score 1 goal. It was a very well played goal, but they all count.
Exactly.
Then they played Rijeka at home 4-1. Then they went away to Real Sociedad. They lost 1-0, which was quite an even game. So they'll play them next time at home. So let's see what happens there. Then the next game they're at home to Napoli. So they get the 2 big dogs at home still, which could be an advantage. And then the last game, the 10th of December, is away in Croatia against Rijeka. And then we come to our last representative in Europe, and it's Feyenoord. And like I said, Feyenoord were a bit all over the place currently with their European progress so far. The first game they played away at Dinamo Zagreb, 0-0, very boring game. They missed a penalty. Then the game that everyone expected them to win comfortably, Wolfsberger AC, the Austrian team, who are currently nearing the relegation zone in Austria. They somehow beat Feyenoord 4-1 in the Netherlands with 3 penalties that were quite controversial. I don't think all of them were penalties, and in the Europa League there's no VAR. So they were given, they were scored, Feyenoord lost. And then the next game they beat CSKA Moscow at home 3-1. So currently find themselves in 3rd in this group, with Dinamo Zagreb and Wolfsberger AC currently occupying the 1st and the 2nd position, and maybe the 2 strongest teams in name, Feyenoord, CSKA Moscow, are in 3rd and 4th. So all to play for still. Feyenoord next time away in Moscow. Then follows a home game against Dinamo Zagreb, and then the last game is an away game, and it's probably a good time for revenge on Wolfsberger AC. So all the teams still have all the chance to progress to the next round. It's still exciting. We'll have to wait and see what happens. So on to Celtic and Rangers,
who have had very different European campaigns so far. You can probably guess from the theme from the direction this podcast has been in so far, who's in the better trajectory in this one.
Yeah, it must be Rangers.
It is indeed. Rangers so far haven't lost in Europe. You have to remember though with Rangers is that the last year I think they went like 10 European games straight unbeaten or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
They went from the very, very, very first qualifying round of the Europa League to like the quarterfinals or something.
Yeah, I know. I remember they did very well.
Yeah. So the first game was against Standard Liège, 2-0 win to Rangers. Very routine, good win. The next one was a last-minute winner from Jermaine Defoe against Lech Poznan. 1-0 win.
Away.
Which wasn't a great performance, but 3 points is 3 points, isn't it?
Fair enough.
The next one is probably the most impressive one. On paper, the most impressive one. As the game actually panned out, not at all. 3-3 away to home to Benfica.
Mm-hmm.
Benfica took an early lead off of a Connor Goldson own goal. Then Benfica went and got a red card for Nicolas Otamendi. Benfica then, to sort of add to their misery, conceded an own goal in the 24th minute and then conceded another goal in the 25th minute. And then Rangers, just after half time, 51st minute, went 3-1 up. Should have been done then, but they managed to pull back 2 in the 77th minute and the 90th plus 1 minute. So, good on paper, not so great in actual performance stats, as you can probably guess from that. Rangers are in fact top of their table and should be in a good position to progress, hopefully. Pulling out a Dutch club next round. That'd be good.
We'll see.
Celtic, granted, have a harder group. If you remember, I was talking about it before.
I remember that group.
The group of death.
Yeah. Wasn't it
Milan, Lille, and Sparta Prague?
Yeah.
I thought Celtic would finish second or third in that group. I think everyone's kind of expecting Milan to win the group. Obviously, they're actually top of Serie A at the minute. And they beat Celtic 3-1. In a game of two halves, Celtic were god-awful in the first half and actually very good in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
They probably played the best half of football they played this season in the second half. They were 2-0 down at half-time. A goal from El Younousi in the 76th minute, pulled one back, brought them into the game. 91st minute, JP Hage, which is the guy they signed from Norway. The AC Milan signed from Norway. Do you remember that guy? What's the team? The yellow team? Yellow and black.
Lillestrøm?
Nope.
Bode, whatever? Glimt?
Yeah, I think it's a Bode. Is that? Am I thinking that's right?
The team that's currently
Bode
top.
Glimt.
Yeah.
They signed him from him and he scored in the 90th plus 2 minutes. So, yeah, Celtic lost that one. The next one, which is actually the best result so far in the Europa League, was against Lille, who are kind of smashing it at the minute in League One.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought we'd rip them apart. Ended in 2-2. Celtic took an early lead in the 28th minute and then doubled that lead in the 32nd minute, both off of Mohamed El Younousi. Second half comeback from Lille, seen equal shares away to Lille. So that's a pretty good result. Next one was an absolute shocker of a result and potentially Celtic's worst performance this season. And it was a 4-1 loss to Sparta Prague, who I thought was the one team that should have been a guaranteed 3 points for Celtic.
Damn. That was away from home, right?
No, it was at home.
Oh, damn. Okay.
At Parkhead, yeah. It wasn't a good performance at all. A hat-trick from Julius from Sparta Prague and Kersey, 90th minute. Probably pronounced that wrong, but I tried. Lee Griffiths pronounced that right. 65th minute. Consolation goal.
Good job.
That point, really. Thank you. Yeah, Celtic are. I think they're the bottom at the minute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, probably won't go through. Not good at all.
It's bad for the European points.
Well, yeah, no. We've got a guaranteed 2 spots for next year, which is more than we normally have, and there's a third competition coming into place. Chances are we'll have 5 teams in total competing next year, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
We are 11th, I believe, at the minute in coefficient. Celtic obviously still have a chance to try and turn it around a bit. Even if they don't, I'm confident Rangers will get as far enough to keep 11th in the coefficient. Yeah. Well, hopefully next year with 5 teams competing, we can improve our coefficient and overtake the Netherlands into our rightful position as the goats of football.
I don't think you've ever been above.
1980s, mate. 1880s, sorry, 1880s.
Okay, maybe, yeah.
1880s. Oh, I said 1980s.
Well, fair enough.
Yeah, exactly. We had the first ever international game. Didn't see you guys in the scene then, no. I did not.
Sorry. Should have invented it faster.
Yeah. I mean,
well,
at least we haven't lost 2 World Cup finals.
3 actually.
Oh, 3.
Well, let's wait and see what happens. Next segment will be more internationally involved, I'd say.
Well, yeah, no, okay.
Well.
So tonight we're going to go into international football, by the way, just for context. Tonight is the night that something new begins, Matthijs.
Something
A
new.
new international footballing power starts tonight.
Ooh.
With Scotland
Are you
beat
sure?
Serbia, then go on and win the Euros next year, then the World Cup the following year, and John McGinn's the heart of a dynasty that goes on to become the greatest international team known to man.
You're very optimistic.
I would say I'm actually quite pessimistic.
Wow.
Okay, so we're playing Serbia tonight. I'm quite excited for it. It'll be the first time in my lifetime.
I know he is.
Scotland. Huh?
I know he is.
Yeah, I'm very excited. The first time in my lifetime Scotland will qualify if we manage to win. We're currently on a very good record. We've not actually lost a game in a calendar year. Whereas Serbia have only won one game in a calendar year within 90 minutes, and that was against Luxembourg, who are minnows to us gigantic nations like Scotland. So we're away to Serbia. Serbia have a very good squad. However, I do believe that Milinkovic-Savic is out due to COVID restrictions in Italy, where he plays for Lazio. However, they do still have players like Dusan Tadic and stuff like that. Apparently they still have Kolarov. Don't know how that works, but they have Kolarov. So, yeah, they have a good side. We have a good side. I don't see a reason why we can't win it. It'll be our toughest challenge yet. Obviously, recently we beat Czech Republic's reserves team because our entire team were out with COVID. We beat Slovakia. We beat Israel multiple times. We seem to play Israel every second week. Kazakhstan. We did beat Czech Republic away with a full squad not that long ago. So I could see us doing well. If anyone's planning on watching the game or did watch the game, I think Scotland will win 1-0.
Who will
I think
score?
we'll sit back, we'll defend like hell, be the most boring game you'll ever watch in your life. But we'll get one wee lucky goal. I think the smartest way to play it would be playing a 5-3-2 for Scotland, with Lyndon Dykes and Lee Griffiths up top. Just Lyndon Dykes just has to use his big frame to bring down the ball, lay it off to Griffiths, or win a free kick. Griffiths scores it, we're done. Game done. I don't really know what more to say about it. I'm just quite excited. After that, we've got Slovakia and Israel, who I say we play every second week in the Nations League, which I'm pretty confident we're going to win the Nations League at this point. I think we just need to draw the next two games when we've won it. Win one of them and it's gone. So they're both away, right enough, but we should be able to win the Nations League. But the qualifiers tonight, it's the biggest game in my lifetime for Scotland. I'm confident of our chances. So I might live to rue these statements. I might, next week when we start this, Matthijs might have some bragging rights. However, I'm going to back my horse, back my country. We're going to win. We've got David Marshall, Ike Casillas, same person. A back three that Maldini would be afraid of. He wouldn't be afraid of them. Why'd he be afraid of them? Would be lucky to get into. Fullbacks, Andy Robertson, who doesn't throw up for Scotland, but best left back in the world. Right backs, let's not talk about that one. Centre mid, John McGinn's incredible. We've got Stuart Armstrong. We've got, I think McTominay will play centre back. McTominay. We've got Ryan Jack. We've got Callum McGregor. We're fighting in our front two. Our front two is an attack that Paolo Maldini would be afraid of. Lyndon Dykes and Lee Griffiths. Yeah. And then next summer we can talk about Scotland's famous Euros win when we put the Netherlands out in yet another final. Anyway, over to the Netherlands.
Well, a little different for us since we've qualified for the Euros already. We've had a bit of an injury crisis with players signing off. For example, the goalkeeper that played yesterday against Spain was Marco Bizot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that name rings a bell.
Vaguely, actually.
It's
I think mainly from FIFA.
Yeah, it's the goalkeeper for AZ. He made his debut. Probably the next 2 games in the Nations League, Tim Krul will be our goalkeeper.
Okay.
Who I think is a decent goalkeeper, but it's quite sad, our goalkeeper situation at the moment. Then also we have Joël Drommel, who has made his debut in the national team selection. 23-year-old goalkeeper for FC Twente. He's been in the under 23s and all these teams a lot, but exciting goalkeeper. Isn't quite there yet. Even a few other players signed off. Sven Botman got his first call-up. He's currently playing for Lille in League 1. And Ryan Gravenberg was called up, 18-year-old player for Ajax. It's all, like I said, it's all over the place. The next 2 games, last night actually, we played Spain, 1-0. I didn't see it, but from what I've heard, it was quite a boring game. Frank de Boer, as a head coach, still hasn't won a game yet. I mean, the next games he has to. The 15th of November, it's at home to Bosnia. And to get a chance of winning this Nations League group, we really have to win this game. And the game after, the 18th of November, is away to Poland, which again, I think is a game we should win.
Yep.
So all in all, Depay is still here. Wijnaldum's here. Van de Beek's here. De Jong is here. Dumfries, in my opinion, good player, is here. Stefan de Vrij is still playing. So there's enough quality to beat these teams, but it's just not the right. Yeah. Just misses that little something. But I think these 2 games, they are very important also for Frank de Boer to, keep his credentials, keep his place, keep being considered as a good manager. I will see. I don't really know what to think or say. I just know that we have to beat Bosnia at home, and Poland away should also be doable, in my opinion, if Lewandowski gets marked well.
I mean, Bosnia have some very good players.
Yeah, it was quite astonishing how Pjanic dictated the midfield. Like when we played them in Bosnia. Still, Netherlands should have won that game. They were the better side. Yeah, it's a very good team.
Yeah.
But it's mixed with also players that even still play in the national Bosnian league. So it's they have the very high highs, but also very deep lows.
Okay.
Comes to their players, but yeah. Am I excited? Not really. I would prefer.
In comparison to me.
Yeah, like especially that. I would rather have league football this weekend, but we'll have to make do with what we got. And we've got a game against Bosnia and a game away in Poland.
I'm just excited.
I can tell. Well, there's going to be eyes on your game for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm just hoping that you can pull it off.
Georgia are playing North Macedonia.
Oh yeah.
Winner of that get a place in the Euros.
I'm actually.
It'd be annoying if North Macedonia qualified before Scotland for a major tournament.
I'm rooting for them.
Who, North Macedonia?
Yeah, for sure.
Over Georgia? Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be cool. But I wouldn't be very happy. From a Scotland perspective.
I mean, I know. I'm just rooting for them. I quite like it, like to have these teams on in the Euros. I would prefer to see a Faroe Islands against North Macedonia game, just any time of the day, any day of the week. But we'll see. Let's root for Scotland. Of course. Up the boys, right? Thank you for listening to today's podcast, and we really hope you enjoyed.
We still aim to release one episode a week. It's been pretty difficult lately because of work commitments, uni and stuff like that, as you would expect. We do have some pretty special guests lined up, one of which is actually quite a big one. So you should definitely follow us on all our social medias, all the normal social medias that everyone uses. We have
And YouTube.
yeah, and YouTube now, so that you can see when we post a new podcast. And hopefully next week, I'll be speaking to you from a qualified Scotland. But until then, goodbye.
Doei!